Hi, I'm going to do a resining video today. I'm using the Art and Glow epoxy resin, casting and coating resin. I've been using it for a while. In fact, these bottles are almost empty, so I'll probably be finishing those off today. I've taken two little cups that I got at the dollar store. They come in a huge package of a bunch of them. And I've already marked off even lines on each of them. So I'll know not to go over that line, because you do want 50% combined of the two bottles. So just so you don't have to sit and watch all of this, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the process. You always want to wear gloves. You want to protect your skin from this resin. It's permanent. You also want to have open windows or do it outdoors, either one. Someplace where you can protect yourself. I always wear a mask. So if during part of this video I'm not speaking to you, it's because when I'm mixing the resin together, bubbles come out, and I want to make sure not to breathe in any of the resin bubbles. So I'm going to take a break from the video for right now, so you don't have to sit here and watch me pour this into the container, and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, I've poured the two glasses, little cups of product. Let's see if I can get this on the video, in equal amounts, and now I'm going to combine them in a separate cup to mix them together. I don't know if you can see any of this with my hands in the way, maybe not. I'm going to take a popsicle stick, also purchased at the Dollar Tree, dollar store, where I've gotten all these supplies I've shown you so far, except for the resin. And I completely get as much of the resin out of the container as I can. You don't want to waste any. You want them to be equal amounts. So this is the slowest moving resin, part of the resin. The other one pours a little bit faster. They each one, I guess, combine together to create the hard, shiny surface. And you need them to be as close to 50-50 as you can, so equal parts. So that's that part. I'm throwing that little cup away, and then I'll pour in the other part, which is a lot more liquidy. And that just scoops right out. Try to get all the resin out of that cup. I use every drop. And again, today I wanted you to know I'm using Art and Glow. I bought it on Amazon. And it's been working great for me. It doesn't yellow. It's been great. Okay, so throw that little cup away. I'm going to stir this combination of the two resins for about 5 minutes or so, and I'm going to let you go for now so I can put my mask on while I stir, and that's the part I really want to protect myself. So I'll be back. Okay, I have mixed the resins, the two parts up together for over 5 minutes now, and it still looks kind of bubbly, which it will. I'm actually mixing bubbles into it. What I like to do is I like to take my little blowtorch, and this is the blowtorch I'm using. I got it on Amazon, 901 torch. Unlock it, and then I give it a little squirt of heat, and it takes some of the bubbles out. So it looks a little bit less bubbly. I don't do a lot to that because I'm in a little plastic container. Okay, so then what I do is I very simply pick up whatever rock it is that I want to resin. This is one I made for my husband when he was in the hospital. And I coat the top and the bottom very, very thinly first. Very thin coat, especially on the bottom. The bottom will stick to whatever you place it on, and I don't have a drying rack. I would like to have one invented, if anyone can invent that. I have an idea for my husband to create one for me to help him get involved in this, but in the meantime, I put a really thin coat on the bottom, a little bit more on top, and then I take the stone, and I will show you where I'm going each time in a moment, but I have a special little setup at this point that I take it and I go dry it somewhere else. This is a stone that I did for a customer. It was a special order, and I'm actually fulfilling that order while I do my resining today. This is the bottom of the stone. I hope, there we go, you can see it a little better there. And then I will do the top. Now this stone was previously resined. When I have extra resin, sometimes I'll take a plain stone that's a little bit rough and I resin it, and it creates a really smooth surface to paint on. But this is the actual finished painting. I just finished painting it last night. And so I put a smooth coat on the top, very thin layer on the bottom, and when it's as I think it would be best, I will take it over to my little drying rack, which again I will show you at the end of this. Now this is a little heart that I did. It was completely made out of resin, and then I painted it. So the only part I really need to do today is the very top, where I added the paint. So I'm just using it with my fingers and my gloves. That's why I wear the gloves. I don't bother with a lot of tools. As long as your gloves don't have any holes in them, your hands will be protected. Please, please, please always wear protective covering aprons on your clothing so you don't ruin your clothing. And I pull my hair back. I've got long hair. Here's a little dragonfly I just finished painting. Go at the bottom with a little bit. This one's also already previously been coated with resin. It was a very rough little rock, and now it's a very pretty little rock, a dragonfly design. So wear gloves, wear a mask, which I always do except today because I'm doing this video. Wear an apron to protect your clothing. Do it either outside or with windows available and open. I got a little crazy with this design. Is this beautiful or what? I kind of fell in love with it. It's a 4-pointer with different designs in all the points. So rubbing a little bit on the bottom. The stone was previously resined. And then I rub a little bit more on the top. You want to make sure the whole design is covered completely and smoothly. Resin finds its own, it uses gravity, so it will go to the bottom. So very thin coat on the bottom, a little more on the top. Make sure everything's covered. There we go. I love this design. I was just having fun. I had some paint I was using for another project in those tones, and I thought I'll try another little rock, and I had this natural stone that was just beautiful. I thought the perfect color, fun shape. And now we're just adding the resin to the top of it. So all the paint is already dry. And now I'm just adding the resin to add a shine and to make it long lasting. Really is pretty with that shine on it. Okay. This one I did in all metallics. So this is a very rough natural stone. As you can see all the little grooves. This will smooth it out a lot. This is the bottom, of course. And I just give it a thin coat on the bottom. And then add some to the top. This is to protect the art. It creates a stone that can be used indoors or outdoors. The resin is really sturdy and strong. It puts such a pretty shine on everything. There you go. Make sure the bottom is very slightly done. This is a pretty stone that I did. I think it's pretty. It's just a plain ocean rock. And I do the whole bottom, make sure it's done. every bit of it covered with resin. And then go back and add a little more to the top. I use a a surface that I could throw away if I needed to. Nothing expensive to do this process on. The mat, the silicone will peel right off the mat, so don't worry about that. The silicone mat. Two more to do. This is another one I was painting. I'll have to show it to you sometime. A beautiful flower and dragonfly painting. And I had these colors that I was using, and I thought, well, that'd make a pretty color for opposites on the color wheel. Thought it'd be really pretty to do these tones. So the bottom is done completely. Then I do the top. Add a little more to the top and make sure it's got a nice cover on everything, and then into the drying rack. Okay, the last stone for the day, the natural stone that has been resined before, thin coating on the bottom. That's the natural, where it sat on the ocean floor or on the beach for a long time. And then this has been the painted portion, obviously. Too bad rocks don't grow with mandalas already on them. Of course, I don't know what I would do for fun if they did, so, okay. Make sure it's all completely coated. Done. Now I have a little bit extra resin, and there's two things I do with mine at the end. I bought some little jewelry discs that I can make resined jewelry out of. Very nice and lightweight, and then I paint it and re-resin it. And then I also have a tray for the hearts, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do some jewelry today, and I'm just going to fill this up. These have the ones I bought, they're on Amazon also, have a little place where you make sure it gets covered all the way around. These have a little knob sticking out. I don't know if you can see that, but it creates a hole so you can put, hang these on a chain or a cord. You don't want to go over the top of the little peg that's sticking out that creates the hole. Otherwise you won't be able to wear it. And I have one more after this. I might be able to squeeze one more out of this. I have an oval shape. These are all different shapes. So there's a fifth one that's a drop shape. Sometime soon I'll show you the jewelry that goes with these little things. Okay, we'll let those settle down. I can just leave those here. And I'm going to take off my gloves and show you, throwing all that away, show you where I keep my rocks. So let me take the gloves off so I can touch my camera. Hey, this is my fancy drying area. So I got a big container. It's one of these big plastic containers, and I put newspaper in the bottom so I don't ruin it. And then I put Dixie cups, that also, hello, Dollar Tree, dollar store. I picked up a bunch of these little cheapo cups. You can see where I've done this before. There's like resin there. And I set them up and upside down, and I put the stones that I have just resined on top of a separate cup each. It's been the least expensive and most usable way I found to try to have as little part of the stone touching whatever it's sitting on, so it doesn't create a lot of resin overflow. What will happen sometimes, and you can see it because there is some resin residue on the bottom of the newspaper from previous times, if you use too much resin, you will have to do a lot of cleanup on the bottom of your stone, which I will show you at the end of this video, how I go about doing that. That's the hardest part, and I'm still devising another way to dry the stones. These, the reason I put them in a cupboard in a container that I can cover is I put the cover on them and I let them sit for 24 hours before I touch them again. So that is that, and I'll be back. I use my little blowtorch. It's just a cooking one that can add a glaze to like a creme brulee or something like that. And I torch each stone to get all the bubbles out. I almost forgot that. Not a lot, just enough to knock the bubbles out. The resin had the little bubbles. I think you saw it as I was mixing it. Well, to make those not show up in your art form, make sure you don't start a fire with the newspaper or the cups. It's just a little fire torch for browning dessert. You can actually smell it. And then I'm also going to need to do that on these little guys, so to get the bubbles out. See the bubbles that are in that one? Watch. Gone. Bubbles. No bubbles, and you don't do it very long. It smokes a little bit, so you want to be careful with that. Okay, that's it.